The skies over Tehran hadn't even begun to settle when the second wave hit, not with fire, but with information. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the ideological anchor and central figure who directed the Islamic Republic for over 3 decades, was reported dead amidst a relentless barrage of strikes shaking the region. But while the world's eyes were glued to the kinetic plumes of smoke rising from military sites, a quieter, more insidious offensive was infiltrating the digital landscape. This is the new frontier of asymmetric warfare. Reports indicate that Israel allegedly breached Batasaba, Iran's most ubiquitous Islamic application. Millions of citizens looking for prayer times or Quranic guidance instead found their screens hijacked by a chilling ultimatum. Time for a reckoning. It was a high-stakes psychological operation, Pesyop, designed to fracture the collective national psyche at its most vulnerable moment. We are witnessing more than just a border skirmish. We are witnessing the total breakdown of geopolitical deterrence, from the breach of digital sovereignty in Tehran to the sirens wailing in Tel Aviv. The Middle East is staring into a void of unprecedented volatility. Is this the collapse of a regime or the spark of a regional conflagration that no one can extinguish? Saturday, February 28th. The world awoke to a new grim reality. In Washington, Donald Trump stood before the press to announce the commencement of Operation Epic Fury. Simultaneously in Jerusalem, Benjamin Netanyahu formalized a parallel strike. Operation Lion's Roar. 2 code names, 1 singular objective: the structural decapitation of the Iranian leadership. The irony is as thick as the smoke over the Persian Gulf. Only hours prior, back-channel diplomacy in Oman had signaled a rare breakthrough. Mediators reported that Iran was prepared to freeze its uranium stockpiles, a move that, on paper, should have de-escalated the escalation ladder. Instead, that diplomatic olive branch was ignored in favor of a total military reset. The assault was a masterclass in precision and devastation. At least 21 Tomahawk cruise missiles were launched from U.S. warships and submarines, threading through Iranian air defenses to strike the heart of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC. But in large-scale kinetic action, surgical precision is often a sanitized term for human tragedy. The shock waves didn't stop at military perimeters. In Hormozgan province, a primary school became a grim testament to the failure of modern warfare's accuracy, leaving 85 dead. Initial tallies report 2,011 fatalities. The list of the fallen reads like a who's who of the Iranian state: Khamenei, Defense Minister Amir Nasirzadeh, and IRGC Commander Mohammad Pakpour. This wasn't just an airstrike, it was a forced power vacuum. To understand this explosion, we have to look at the decades of the shadow war. For years, Tehran and Jerusalem engaged in a lethal game of brinkmanship, using proxies, cyber-sabotage, and targeted assassinations. But the West's latest gambit was based on a massive sociological miscalculation. Western analysts hypothesized that the death of the supreme leader would trigger a popular uprising, that the Iranian people would take to the streets to celebrate the fall of the mullahs. They were wrong. Instead of fracturing, the Iranian power structure hardened. The Iranian constitution contains a rapid-fire succession mechanism. An interim leadership council moved instantly to ensure no lapse in authority, floating names like Mojtaba Khamenei to maintain ideological continuity. Nationalism, it seems, has outpaced political fatigue. In Isfahan and Mashhad, millions flooded the squares, not for revolution, but for retribution. This fury isn't contained by borders. It has spilled into the streets of Karachi, Kashmir, and Baghdad. By killing the leader, the alliance may have inadvertently created a martyr. The world is now facing an Iran that is wounded, unified, and singularly focused on vengeance. Iran's response arrived under the banner of Operation Fateh-e Hyber. a name steeped in religious symbolism and spiritual resolve. This wasn't just a counterattack, it was a regional mobilization. Within minutes, the Mediterranean coast to the Persian Gulf became a theater of fire. Israel's air defenses were pushed to their saturation point. In Tel Aviv, the Holon terminal was engulfed in flames as missiles bypassed the Iron Dome. But the true weapon isn't a missile, it's geography. Iran has officially shuttered the Strait of Hormuz. By choking this vital artery, through which 20% of the world's oil flows, Tehran has held the global economy hostage. The ripple effect was instantaneous. Crude prices skyrocketed, threatening global inflation and potentially upending the U.S. election cycle. The message from the IRGC was clear. If Iran cannot export energy, no one will. The sinking of an unidentified tanker that attempted to defy the blockade proved that this wasn't a bluff. It was a military doctrine. The conflict has now metastasized. From the Houthis in Yemen to Hezbollah in Lebanon, the axis of resistance has unified into a single front, turning the Red Sea and the Bab al-Mandeb Strait into active combat zones. As the dust settles over the ruins of Tehran and the fires rage in the Gulf's ports, we are forced to confront a shattered status quo. 1. The intelligence failure. Western assumptions that internal dissent would collapse the regime prove false. External aggression has consolidated Iranian national identity. 2. Hybrid warfare is supreme. The hijacking of religious apps as psyops marks a new era where digital borders are as critical as physical ones. 3. The death of diplomacy. The disregard for the Oman negotiations suggests that in a world of transactional leadership, written treaties no longer provide a safety net. 4. Global energy fragility. The world economy remains a prisoner to narrow maritime choke points and regional volatility. 5. Unlimited escalation. Without a credible mediator, the region has entered a cycle of action-reaction that could realistically lead to unconventional warfare. Modern war offers no clean victories, only heaps of ash and inherited vendettas. While leaders in bunkers move pawns across digital maps, millions of civilians in Tehran, Tel Aviv, and Doha are forced to inhabit a new normal defined by terror. We must ask ourselves, in an age of hyperconnectivity, can true security ever be achieved through the total destruction of the other, or are we simply watching the beginning of a long winter that will freeze our collective humanity? The Middle East isn't just burning, it is melting, and the heat may be enough to consume us all.